If you have your Bibles, turn to Jeremiah chapter 32. I hope you're there already. And I want to put it in context of Jeremiah chapter 32. In fact, Jeremiah depicts, if you will, how God commissioned Jeremiah by proclaiming a very unpopular message. He gives Jeremiah this message, and he commissions Jeremiah to do it. And the message to Judah was the fact that Babylon was about ready to destroy them. And people not only ignored his preaching, but they threw him in a dungeon and a well. And the dungeon then and the well then had water in it, and it was mud and water mixed. It stunk. And by the way, when he was thrown in there, the only way he'd get food, friends had to come back and feed him. If they didn't bring food, he'd starve to death. If they didn't bring water, he would thirst to death. And so that's where he was. And beginning with chapter 30, Jeremiah looks beyond the impending judgment of Judah and Judah's restoration and Judah's redemption. And God's people, he said, God's people, you will be conquered and deported to Babylon, but you will return in 70 years. Now, I love this. In Jeremiah chapter 32, and verse 2, Nebuchadnezzar and his army was right outside the camp, right outside the city. And they were in the midst of chaos, in the midst of uncertainty. It is amazing when you read this passage that God told Jeremiah, listen to me, he just got through proclaiming that they were going to be out of town for 70 years, that they were going to destroy the land. Now this is amazing. God tells him in this chapter, in verse 20, he tells him, Jeremiah, I want you to go and buy some property from your cousin. Buy some land. Now, I don't know about you, but if I find out that this world is going to pieces and the land I have is going to be conquered by Nebuchadnezzar and by the Babylonians, I'm telling you, I would think, wait a minute now, this doesn't make sense. But I found out faith seems foolish, does it not? Does it not? Sometimes it seems foolish. Noah built an ark. There was no water. Can you imagine the neighbors out on dry land? They'd never seen rain. And he's building this ark. It takes him 120 years. Can you imagine people coming by every day? What you doing? Well, it's going to rain. What's that? And water's going to flood. Where's the water? This is dry land. The ark was so big it brought in all the animals, two of a kind, and Noah and his family, and all the food and all the water. These people said, Noah has lost his marbles. You ever heard that expression? That's nothing. How about Abraham? When Abraham was called to take a journey, and God did not give him a map. I don't know if they had maps back in those days, but he did. He said, you go. Moses left the treasures of Egypt and wandered in the desert.